Here we have an equation that contains fractions. We have to solve this for x, just as we would normally do. However, we want to try to make it as simple as possible. We want to try to get rid of the fraction if possible. So here's what we would do. You multiply by what is known as the least common denominator. You have to multiply by the least common denominator, the LCD. Look at your denominators. The least common denominator is the smallest number that all three of these denominators can be divided into. The smallest number that all three of these numbers can be divided into. For example, 12 and 6. What is the smallest number that both 12 and 6 can go into? Well, the number 12. So here's what you're going to do. That means the LCD is 12. So I'm going to multiply all of my numerators by 12, only the numerators. So I have 11 times 12, which is 121, divided by 12. 5 times 12, which is 60, divided by 12. Negative 5 times 12, which is negative 60. My pen is not working. So negative 60 over 6. Now you just divide these, top divided by bottom. So 121 divided by 12 is 11x. 60 divided by 12 is 5x. Or just 5, excuse me, there is no x. And negative 60 divided by 6 is negative 10. So we're going to divide these just as normal, or we've already divided. We're going to solve these just as normal, where we would subtract 5 from both sides. So you would have negative 10 minus 5, which is negative 15. So 11x equals negative 15. Divide both sides by 11. That's what we want to do now. We want to divide both sides by 11. So here's what you do. Because you'll notice, if you're forward thinking like me, 11 can't go into 15. So we're going to just leave our answer as a fraction here. And you would have negative 15 over 11. Negative 15 over 11. Don't forget about your negative. Let's try that again, because if you're like me, it might take you a couple of tries to even get that. So I'm going to give you another problem. Here we have 2x over 5 equals x over 2 minus 3 over 4. Step 1 is still the same. You have to figure out what is the least common denominator. The smallest number that 5, 2, and 4 can go into. Well, you might have to think about it for a second, because the numbers that go into 5, or that 5 can go into, 5, but 2 can't go into 5. 10, 2 can go into 10, but 4 can't go into 10. 15, neither one of them can go into 15. 20, okay. 2 can go into 20, and 4 can go into 20. So that means the LCD is 20, because that is the smallest number that all of them can go into. That's the easiest way to do it, I believe. Now, some of you may be wondering, what if I can't figure that out? Can I just multiply 5 times 2 times 4? 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times 4 is 40. So if you multiply them, it will not give you the least common denominator. However, if you multiply them, the process still will work. Okay, even if you don't use the least common denominator, as long as you use a number that all three of the denominators can go into, it can work. So we're going to use 20. And if you choose to, you can use 40, because I just multiplied it, and see if you get the same answer. So we have 2x times 20, which is 40. equals 20x over 2 minus 60 over 4. So all we did was multiply all of the numerators by the LCD. Now you're going to divide. So you would have 40 divided by 5, which is 8x, equals 10x minus 15. Okay? Hopefully you're following along. Now notice that you have two variables on both sides of the equal sign. So I've got to combine these. Now, normally we take the smallest one and move to the other side. However, if we move the 8x, there's not going to be anything left over here. So I'm going to move the 10 this time. Subtract 10 on both sides. Because you always have to have something on both sides of the equal sign. All right, so 8 minus 10 is negative 2. Divide by negative 2. And then you're left with x equals negative 15 divided by negative 2. Because 2 can't go into 15, so I'm going to just leave my answer as a fraction. But here's a common mistake. If you didn't already notice, you should notice that there is two negatives here. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. So that means your answer is actually positive 15 over 2. Oop, just messed up a little bit. All right, that is your answer.